Hi Claire, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for
All right, April, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Claire.
I just really enjoyed the show. So
Oh, that's good.
thanks for that. Bit of a busman's holiday, not going to
Yes.
lie, but it was
Yeah.
really well put together. It's a very powerful representation of things that I've been working on for a long time, and it's in a different space, and hopefully it's going to reach a different type of audience to the ones that I get to meet in a town hall or wherever, COVID allowing. It was galvanising and kind of heartbreaking. How did you start making the show?
Well, Nadia Paul, who's the artistic director of Stratford East, got in touch with me because I'd worked here before, and she wanted me. She knew I was in part of Extinction Rebellion, and I'm always posting about the climate and stuff on social media. And she said, "Well, why don't you do a show?" And it kind of coincided with the COVID times, and so we decided it'd be a monologue because that's just much easier for theatres to handle in this pandemic sort of thing. So that's the sort of genesis of the show. So my first port of call was to kind of go, and I interviewed about 14 activists that I'd met during my time with Extinction Rebellion, or I'd heard about, or someone had, put me in touch with, and I wanted a kind of real kind of wide kind of selection of activists. I had this amazing material. And I talked to Nadia about it, and she was going, "Yeah, this is good, but you also have to talk about the climate, because some people don't know. I mean, I know for you must know this stuff, back to front sort of thing. But it's kind of hard, but it's kind of like, how do you gauge, that was one of the really big questions, how do you gauge how much people know?"
I recognised quite a lot of the voices.
Oh, did you?
In the show. Felt quite just weirdly familiar, and also because it's so extraordinary, the information, because I'm so used to reiterating it myself, having it blasted in my face with such a beautiful production actually was quite an affront, even though I do know those facts inside out, but it was really, really hard hitting. You've used a theatre here for kind of in the name of activism, kind of in the public service of like the distribution of a very urgent message. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it felt really different from sitting down and writing a play. And it just, I mean, if you think, well, I want to write a play about climate change, you sort of feel like it just doesn't, the word play and the word climate change, they just don't fit together. And so it really meant something. And so actually having a monologue was really good, because there's something really urgent about a direct address and something really honest and really truthful. And it's not somebody sort of saying, "I want you to imagine that I'm a character in the 18th century and this is my classmate." It was like, it's like talking directly to people as part of the kind of, the message about the kind of the rawness and the urgency of it. Kirsty Housley, who's the director, I mean, she's also the dramaturge, and so she came on after a draft or two, and we really talked it through and wrangled it through together. So it's her brain in there as well. A lot of the kind of theatricality she kind of gave to the play. And theatre's, well, that is what you said, it's like it, but when it's in front of you and someone's kind of going through a journey, which Kieran, the actress, does so brilliantly, takes you on a journey through these facts and through these people that she's met, and and it starts to really impact on her physically and emotionally. You get that impact as well. And I think, there's wonderful Nina Dunn, who's made the visual landscape of the play and the projections. I mean, that's also so extraordinary, seeing the elements kind of, and the threat that some of those images kind of give you, this visceral kind of shock, don't they? They hit you, and so that everything, it's the way that all the elements can work together in theatre. It's just privilege for this. Hats off to this theatre for letting me have a go at doing what is the most. I can't think of anything more urgent or important to do.
It almost feels to me like perhaps there's like a genre coming that we'll see more and more of people using like the power of an individual addressing an audience in order to try and convey the importance of all of these messages, right? Is it like, do you see something coming through theatre that's sort of increasing awareness, I guess, of the kind of cli-fi fiction space, for example? You know, as a cultural kind of worker, as a fashion designer, I feel that the arts has shown a great dereliction of duty, basically, that we are here and so little of culture seems to be, you know, serious about addressing this problem in a way that your show is.
I think that our whole society is in a kind of denial. And I think that one of the things that, you know, when I was talking to activists and thinking about climate, the whole show, you know, the thing about that you have to have grief, you have to kind of face the truth about what's happening. You know, this, and it's very hard because it's so complicated in a way. And people have to face that truth, and then they have to grieve it. Once you've grieved, then you can kind of get to a place of deciding to do something. But if you don't grieve and you're in denial, you're not listening and you want to be distracted. And our culture, I think the theatre culture is still a bit like, oh, well, let's be distracted, But I think it's changing, you know, I think it is. I mean, there's other shows, and people, it won't always be somebody talking to the audience. I mean, that was kind of the simplest, most direct, urgent way, and it was a COVID, you know, necessity. But I mean, I'm sure people will be writing different kind of plays and thinking about it.
What kind of advice have you got for people who are beginning this work to like step into activism?
Well, I mean, I'd just say, you know, it's Chidi Obahara, one of the activists I spoke to, he said, you know, join Extinction Rebellion, or if Extinction Rebellion is not your thing, just find your tribe, go and find the people to become active with and do stuff, do practical stuff. I mean, there's the stuff you can do like buy fair trade, don't use plastic bags, you know, don't bank with a bank that invests in fossil fuels, you know, disinvest from them. And then when you've done all those things you can do in your personal life, then go and find your tribe. That's what he said. And I think that's right, you know, go and find the people that you want to be active with.
Find the others is what some people say, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got to find the other people and make connection.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, something I experienced at the beginning of like starting XR was that you could hold a talk and some people would come up and say, oh, thank God someone else is like talking about this as if it's true, you know,
that's
because
right.
it's so difficult for people, I think, when they feel sort of isolated in their family and their friendship groups, with people all around them that are slightly going like, la 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 la, I don't really quite know, I don't know, but they do really, but they don't really want to face it, you know.
But you know, the other thing that's been really, that I've found, is that it's really enlivening not to be in sort of denial and to kind of, to really ask the sort of questions that, you know, environmentalists are asking and to try and change things. I mean, like, I've had just really a lot of fun, which is a real antidote to kind of sort of fear. I mean, I think since becoming an activist, I've really sort of come alive in a way that I didn't realise I wasn't really alive before, because what agency did I have about my life? There's a lot of joy to be having activism and a lot of freedom and a lot of finding your power and not accepting that we're just going to be killed by billionaires in our government, which is what's happening.
What are you hoping that audiences are going to take from the show?
People might come with at different levels of awareness, but I mean, presumably they've come as an audience, they're interested, and they've made that generous and fantastic step of coming to the show. I hope they'll just become active afterwards. That's what I really hope. I hope they come and go, God, you know, we really have to do something. We have to do something now. And we're talking about, you know, extinction. We need a revolution, don't we, really? Because this government, I don't think, is going to do anything, or is any government going to do anything? I think it's got to be a lot of people going, no, we're not going to die. We want a different world, you know. Thanks for all you've done and continue to do, and for inviting me to see it and celebrating you today for the work. Pleasure.